Level 1, $22,000 a year. You know your hourly rate the way other people know their birthday, with $10.60. It's not a fact you memorized. It's a number that memorized you. After taxes, roughly $1,300 a month lands in your account, and it's already spent before it arrives. Rent is $680 for a room with a lock that doesn't quite catch, in an apartment you share with two strangers who became roommates by algorithm, not choice. You buy the store brand everything, not because you compared and chose it, because the name brand version simply isn't a decision you're allowed to make. Your phone screen has had a crack running corner to corner for 4 months, and you've stopped noticing it the way you stopped noticing a scar. You're at the pharmacy counter buying something small, toothpaste, maybe a bandage, and the card declines, not because the money isn't coming, because it hasn't landed yet. You step aside, you open the app, you refresh it twice, while the person behind you shifts their weight and sighs just loud enough for you to hear it. That sigh stays with you longer than the bill did. You scroll through old classmates' lives on your lunch break, sitting in your car because it's quieter than the break room. You don't hate them. You just stop looking. Because looking costs something. Looking at the sun costs. It doesn't inform you. It just hurts. The first rule of $22,000. You don't budget your money. Your money budgets you. Level 2. $42,000 a year. This is the first number that feels like a floor instead of a hole. You move into your own place, not big, one room and a kitchen the size of a closet, but the door locks, and the silence behind it belongs to nobody but you. You fill your gas tank all the way for the first time in years, and watching the number climb to full instead of stopping at $15 feels genuinely like winning something. But $42,000 in a city where a one-bedroom runs $1,150 is still a tightrope. You've just stopped feeling the rope under your feet every single second. The fear moved from your throat down into your shoulders, quieter, still there. And you start noticing something new at this level. Other people's weekends. Not with jealousy exactly, more like awareness switching on for the first time. You check your account on Friday nights now, not out of panic, just out of habit, and the number is never thrilling, but it's not terrifying either. That flat gray middle is where $42,000 lives. The second rule of $42,000. This is the level where you stop surviving and start, quietly, looking up. Level 3. $65,000 a year. You're doing everything you were told to do, and somehow everything right still feels like standing still. One bedroom in a decent building. Car that starts every morning without a prayer attached. You can go to dinner without doing math under the table first. Then you find out, by accident, that the guy 2 desks over makes $95,000 for work that looks, from the outside, identical to yours. That number rearranges something in you, not the $30,000 gap itself, what it represents. A different apartment, a different kind of Tuesday. You do the same job. The paycheck disagrees. You start Googling salary ranges at midnight, the way other people scroll social media to fall asleep, not out of greed, out of a new, sharper kind of awareness. Because at $65,000, you can finally see both directions clearly. $22,000 behind you, which makes you grateful, and $150,000 ahead of you, which makes you restless. Standing exactly in the middle of that view is one of the most uncomfortable places on the entire scale. The third rule of $65,000. This is the mirror. You finally see exactly where you stand and exactly how far there still is to go. Level 4. $110,000 a year. 6 figures, the number people chase for a decade, thinking that crossing it will feel like arrival. It doesn't. It feels more like opening a door into a bigger room, one that has 3 more doors in it, you didn't know existed. Taxes take a bigger bite than you expected. $110,000 becomes something closer to $78,000 once the government finishes with it. In a city with any real cost of living, that number is comfortable, not extravagant. A nice title wrapped around a fairly ordinary life. You stop telling people your salary, not modesty, self-defense. The moment people learn the number, they develop opinions about it. Family calls more. Acquaintances pitch you side projects. Strangers online insist you're not really wealthy at all. The lifestyle shift is smaller than you expected. Better groceries, better shoes. But the jump from $65,000 to $110,000 doesn't feel anything like the jump from $22,000 to $42,000 did. That first jump changed your life. This one just changed your options, and options without a clear why attached to them is just a more comfortable way of feeling lost. The fourth rule of $110,000, 6 figures, is a door, not a destination. What's waiting on the other side is a question, not an answer. Level 5, $300,000 a year. A different world now, with a different vocabulary. You talk about tax loss harvesting, not tax refunds. Asset allocation, not how much is in checking. Your accountant costs more than your first car did. The people around you start earning similar numbers, not by design, just by gravity, the way water finds its own level. Nobody at dinner checks the bill before ordering anymore. Not because anyone's showing off, because cost quietly stopped being part of the equation. You notice yourself explaining less and less to people outside this altitude. Not arrogance, just accuracy. The language doesn't translate cleanly anymore. When you mention, casually, that your accountant is restructuring something, you watch a small, familiar distance appear in the other person's eyes. The same distance you used to feel looking up at $22,000. Now you're the one being looked up at. Understanding both sides of that gap doesn't make it smaller, it just makes it lonelier. The fifth rule of $300,000. The higher the number climbs, the smaller your circle gets, and the smaller the circle, the quieter the room becomes. Level 6. $1 million a year. You don't say the number out loud. Nobody at this level does. It exists mostly in documents, wire transfers, and conversations with attorneys who bill by the 6-minute increment. Money stops being invisible in the sense of being ignored. It becomes invisible in the sense of no longer being the main character of your life. Decisions aren't measured in dollars anymore. They're measured in time, what costs you hours, what buys you hours back. And somewhere in a version of your memory that feels less like your life and more like a country you used to live in, there's a person at a pharmacy counter, watching a card decline, waiting for a transfer to clear while a stranger sighs behind them. You remember that person clearly, familiar, but foreign, yours, but not anymore. The sixth and final rule: money, at every single level, was never really measuring how much you have. It was measuring the distance between who you are and who you're quietly becoming, one paycheck, one decision, one ordinary Tuesday at a time. If you found yourself somewhere in these numbers today, that's not a coincidence. That's just where the story starts. Subscribe to The Money Man for more honest stories about the psychology of money at every level, from the very first paycheck to the very last one that stops mattering.